You ever notice how the world keeps turning, whether you're winning or losing, whether you're crying or smiling? That should tell you something. Life don't slow down for complaints. It don't pause for pity. See, everybody's got problems. Everybody's got battles. But the difference between those who rise and those who fall, it's in how they carry their struggles. You walk into a room and you start unloading your problems on everybody. You think they care? No, they might nod, they might pretend, but deep down, most folks are either glad it ain't them or waiting for their turn to speak. Now, I'm not saying suffer in silence, I'm saying move in silence. Work in the dark, grow in the shadows, and when you step into the light, let your success speak. Because when you complain, you give away your power. You tell the world, I can't handle it. And the world, it listens. So don't just talk about the weight. Carry it. Carry it with purpose, with strength, with the mindset that every step forward is one less reason to look back. You don't owe anybody your struggles. You owe yourself your progress. So don't tell them, show them. People don't care as much as you think. That's a hard truth, but it's one you need to understand if you want to move forward in life. See, when we go through struggles, when we face challenges, when life knocks us down, it's natural to want to share that pain. It's human to want someone to listen, to sympathize, to tell us everything is going to be okay. And sure, there are people who love you, people who want the best for you, but the reality is the world keeps moving whether you're struggling or not. You walk into a room and you start talking about your problems, your hardships, your frustrations. Maybe the first time, people listen, maybe they nod, offer a few words of encouragement. But what happens the second time, the third time? After a while, people stop listening, not because they're cruel, not because they don't care at all, but because they have their own battles. They have their own struggles, their own worries, their own problems that keep them up at night. You ever notice how when you succeed, people show up to celebrate, but when you struggle, they disappear? That's not by accident. It's because people are drawn to strength. They're drawn to success, to power, to those who can lift them up. But weakness, struggle, that's something most people would rather avoid, not because they're heartless, but because they have their own burdens to carry. You might think your struggles are unique, that what you're going through is harder than what others have faced. And maybe it is. Maybe your pain is deeper, maybe your obstacles are tougher, but to the world, your problems are just another story in a sea of stories. Another person struggling, another person hoping for sympathy. And the truth is, sympathy doesn't change anything. Sympathy doesn't fix your situation. When you rely on people to care, you give away your power. You put your emotions, your stability, your motivation in someone else's hand. You wait for their validation, their concern, their encouragement before you take the next step. And what happens when they don't give it? What happens when they're too busy, too distracted, too wrapped up in their own issues? You're left standing still, waiting for something that may never come. Now, I'm not saying isolate yourself. I'm not saying never share your struggles with those closest to you, but I am saying be careful who you expect to care. Be mindful of how much of your energy you pour into waiting for someone else to lift you up, because at the end of the day, nobody is coming to save you. That's not a sad thing, that's a powerful thing, because once you accept it, you stop waiting. You stop seeking permission to heal, to move, to grow. You take control of your own progress. Think about the most successful people in the world. The ones who overcame impossible odds, who turned struggle into greatness. Do you think they sat around waiting for the world to care? Do you think they spent their time complaining, looking for pity, hoping someone would step in and make things easier? No. They understood that their struggles were their own, that no one was going to walk their path for them. And because of that, they kept moving. People respect resilience. They respect strength. They respect those who take control of their lives, even when it's hard. But nobody respects constant complaining. Nobody respects a person who makes excuses, who leans on sympathy instead of solutions. You ever notice how some people go through unimaginable hardships but never talk about them? They just keep moving. Keep working. Keep rising. And when they finally succeed, when they finally make it, that's when the world starts paying attention. Because that's the way the world works. People don't care about your struggles as much as they care about what you do with them. You want people to notice you, to respect you, to value you, then show them strength. Show them resilience. Show them that no matter what life throws your way, you're going to keep pushing forward. The next time you feel like complaining, like venting, like waiting for someone to care, stop and ask yourself, will this change anything? Will this solve the problem? Or is it just wasting time, energy, and focus? Because the time you spend looking for sympathy is time you could be spending on solutions. The energy you waste waiting for someone to care is energy you could be using to build something better. Nobody is coming to fix your life. Nobody is coming to carry your burden for you. But that's okay, because you don't need them to. You're stronger than you think. You're more capable than you realize. And once you stop waiting for the world to care, once you take full responsibility for your own growth, there's nothing that can stop you. Complaining weakens you. Might feel good in the moment to voice your frustrations, to let off some steam, to tell someone how hard life is. But in reality, every time you complain, you're giving away a little bit of your power. Complaining doesn't change anything. It doesn't solve your problems. It doesn't make your burdens lighter. All it does is reinforce the idea that you're helpless, that you can't handle it on your own. And the more you complain, the more you start to believe it. Think about the last time you complained about something. Maybe it was work, maybe it was a personal relationship, maybe it was something in your daily life that frustrated you. Did complaining about it make the situation better? Did it solve the problem or make you feel stronger? No. It probably just made you feel worse, maybe even more helpless. That's because complaining is an act of surrender. It's you admitting that you're not in control, that the situation is bigger than you, and that you're powerless to change it. When you complain, you're not just talking about your problems, you're giving them power. You're saying that these challenges are the most important thing in your life, that they define you, that they're bigger than your ability to overcome them. And the more you focus on them, the more energy you pour into them, the more they take over your life. You start to see the world through the lens of those problems. Every situation, every interaction, every thought becomes colored by your complaints. But here's the thing. The more you complain, the more you reinforce the idea that you're a victim. And when you see yourself as a victim, you give away your control. You stop seeing yourself as someone who can solve problems, someone who can rise above challenges. You start to see yourself as someone who is at the mercy of the world, someone who is at the mercy of circumstances. And once you start thinking like that, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You won't see solutions, you won't take action, you'll just keep complaining, hoping for someone else to fix things for you. When you complain, you focus on what's wrong instead of what can be done. You focus on the obstacles instead of the solutions. And that's what weakens you. It takes away your ability to think clearly, to make decisions, to take control of your life. Complaining clouds your judgment. It makes everything seem worse than it is. It exaggerates your problems and minimizes your power. It makes you feel small when you have the potential to be so much more. If you want to grow, if you want to overcome the challenges in your life, you need to stop complaining and start taking responsibility. Stop giving away your power to your problems. Start focusing on solutions. Start looking for ways to take control and start taking action. Complaining keeps you stuck. It keeps you in the same place, feeling the same frustration, facing the same problems. But the moment you stop complaining and start solving, that's when things begin to change. It's not that you're not allowed to feel frustrated, upset, or overwhelmed. Those feelings are natural, but don't let them control you. Don't let them become the defining feature of your day, your week, your life. You see? Instead of complaining, find a way to change things. Take small steps. Take action. Even if it's just one thing you can do to improve your situation, take that step. Don't wait for someone else to fix it. Don't wait for circumstances to change. Take control of the situation, no matter how small the change may be. Complaining makes you passive. It makes you a bystander in your own life. But when you stop complaining and start taking action, you become an active participant. You take ownership of your life. You stop waiting for the world to change and start changing yourself. And when you do that, you gain strength, you gain confidence, you gain the knowledge that no matter what life throws at you, you can handle it. So the next time you feel the urge to complain, ask yourself, is this helping me? Is this making me stronger? Is this moving me closer to a solution? Chances are it's not. But chances are it's just keeping you stuck. And when you stop complaining, you free yourself. You free yourself from the victim mentality. You free yourself from the belief that your problems are bigger than you. You free yourself to rise above, to overcome, and to become the person you're meant to be. There's something powerful about moving in silence. We live in a world that loves noise, that loves attention, and that thrives on the drama of constant declaration. Everyone wants to announce their moves, their plans, their next big step, hoping for validation, for applause, or for acknowledgement from others. But the truth is, the loudest people in the room are rarely the ones who get things done. It's the quiet ones, the ones who don't need to shout their intentions from the rooftops, who make the biggest impact. When you move in silence, you take away the distraction, the external validation, and focus solely on what's important: results. Think about it for a moment. How many people do you know who constantly talk about what they're going to do? They plan, they talk about their dreams, their goals, their strategies, but when it comes time to act, they're nowhere to be found. Their words are endless, but their actions are few. They create so much noise in the world that it's easy to believe they're making progress. But in reality, they're just filling the air with empty words. Now think about the people who don't talk about what they're doing, the ones who work quietly, who stay focused on the task at hand, who put in the effort day in and day out. You don't hear much from them. They don't need to announce every step they take because they're too busy moving forward. And when the results finally come in, when the fruits of their labor are visible for all to see, that's when the real impact is felt. Those who've been quietly working aren't caught up in the noise of what everyone else is doing. They understand that real success doesn't need constant validation. It speaks for itself. When you're constantly talking about your plans, you risk losing sight of the work. You get caught up in telling everyone what you're going to do, but that takes energy away from actually doing it. The more you talk about it, the less time you spend making it happen. It becomes easy to fall into the trap of thinking that just because you're vocal about your intentions, you're moving forward. But the truth is, real progress doesn't need to be broadcasted. Real progress happens in the silence of effort, in the quiet moments of hard work when nobody's watching. The world doesn't owe you attention. People don't need to know your every move. It's the results that matter. It's the outcome of your work that will ultimately determine your success. When you put in the effort behind closed doors, when you allow your results to speak for themselves, you take control of the narrative. You don't need to convince anyone of your abilities or your potential. Your actions will do that for you. And when the time comes for others to see what you've been doing, the results will speak volumes. Moving in silence is about discipline. It's about focusing on the long-term goal without getting distracted by the immediate desire for recognition. It's about understanding that the process is more important than the praise. People who move in silence know that success is earned, not given. They understand that results aren't just about reaching the destination, but about putting in the work, time, and effort along the way. And because they don't seek constant validation, they remain focused on what truly matters, the work. There's also a power in surprise. People who constantly announce their plans often set themselves up for disappointment when things don't go as expected. They open themselves up to criticism, to doubt, to the opinions of others. But those who keep their moves quiet, who let their work speak for itself, have the power to surprise. They take others by surprise because they don't advertise their struggles or their progress. They just keep moving, and when the results arrive, they arrive with impact. In a world that is constantly seeking attention, the ones who move in silence are often the ones who accomplish the most. They understand the value of keeping their goals close to their chest. of staying focused on the process instead of getting caught up in the approval of others. When you stop seeking validation and start focusing solely on your work, you give yourself the freedom to create something extraordinary. You give yourself the opportunity to rise above the noise and let your results speak louder than any words ever could. When you let your results speak for you, you take control of your own narrative. You don't have to justify your journey or explain your progress to anyone. The work you put in, the effort you invest, the dedication you show, it all becomes evident when the results arrive. And those results will always do a better job of speaking for you than any amount of words ever could. So don't get caught up in the need for validation, the need to announce every move, every step, every plan. Let your work be the loudest thing in the room. Keep your focus on the grind, on the effort, on the relentless pursuit of your goals. And when the results show up, they won't need a single word of explanation. They will speak for you. Let them.